Hello, and in this tutorial I will be teaching you about variables and what they are and how to use them. But before we get into this video, I suggest that you go watch my other tutorials, and I'll leave a little card in the corner if you want to go do that. I really recommend that you go watch them, especially if you are new to Roblox Studio and you're just learning how to script. So if you already know the basic stuff, then we can go into server script service. We can insert a server script, and then we can remove this print command because we don't need it. And we are going to create our variable. So we are just going to do var equals 1, because a variable is just something that you name. You can name your variable whatever you want, but just for this example I will use var as the name for my variable, and then I'm making it equal to 1. So I'm setting var's value to 1. So if we do print var, it's going to print 1 because that is what var is equal to. Variables don't have to be just numbers. You can make this a string. So now when we do print, it's going to print hello world. As you can see, it has done that right here. And then you can also use capitals for your variable. You can use lowercase, and as you can see, I just changed the name of the variable and I changed it in the print as well. So you can add numbers to naming your variables. For example, if you want to have loads of vars, so let's just change the name variable to x. So x is our variable and we're going to set x to equal 1. Now if I do x equals 2 and then I do print x, you will see that it will print 2 because I have set x to equal to 1, but then in the next line I have set x to equal to 2. So if I want to have multiple variables under the same category maybe, and you're going to want to use numbers, you can use numbers, but the starting of your variable cannot begin with a number because then it's going to think that it's a number, and variables cannot be numbers. So we're going to do x1 is equal to 2, x2 is equal to 5, x3 is equal to 6, x4 is equal to 9. So now if we do print x, it's going to print 1, and that is because in the script, as you can see, x is equal to 1. So it's looking for this variable and it's looking what this variable is, and it's 1, so it's printing 1. Now you don't have to write all of these like that because that will take up a lot of lines. So you can have multiple variables assigned to in one line, but you just have to separate them. So you can do x, x1, x2, x3, x4 is equal to, we can then just do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that. So if we do print x, it's still going to print, okay, let's just do print x3. So it's going to look over here, so this variable is number 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So x3 is equal to 4 and it's going to print 4. As you can see, it has printed 4 in the output, which is what we expected. And then you can print a bunch of these, and you can also separate them with a comma if you want. So we're going to do print and then x. So it should print 2 and then 5 and then 1. So let's see if it does that. 2, 5, 1. Okay, that's great. So these are all global variables, but normally we use local variables because Roblox is able to get those local variables quicker than global variables, and you only really need to use global variables and if you really need them. So we're just going to do local, and these just make all of them local variables. So this doesn't change anything. I can still do print x and it's going to print 1. As you can see, it has printed 1. And now if I have separate chunk of code, so let's just remove all of this and let's have the variable equal to hello. So var is equal to hello, and if I do print var here, it will print hello. But if I do a separate chunk of code, if true, then, and don't worry if you don't know what this means, but I'm just creating a new chunk of code here, and then I'm going to assign var here locally. So like that, this is creating a new variable, but only for this string because it is local. So if I do local var equals 5, and then I do print var here, it will print hello. It will print 5, and then here it will print hello. So so it's going to print hello, and then it's going to print 5, and then it's going to print hello. As you can see, it has printed hello, 5, hello. And that's because this variable is equal to hello, and then because this is a separate chunk of code and this variable has been assigned to locally, it will then do var is equal to 5 in here, so it will print 5. So if I remove this local, and then this is just going to be getting this variable now here, and then this is just going to print hello 5 5. So let's see if it does this. Hello 5 5. And that's because here we are setting this variable to not equal hello anymore, and is going to be equal to 5, and that's why it's printing 5 here and then 5 here. So if I do, for example, var equals 10, and then I do local var equals hello. Okay, let's just change this to another word because it might get confusing. Let's just print goodbye. So if I print this var here, we can then do print bar here as well. So what it's going to print is that it's going to print hello, because this is what this variable is equal to. And then here, because I'm assigning this variable over here to 10, is going to print 10. And then this one, we are doing a local variable for this chunk of code, so it's going to print goodbye. And then here is going to print 10 because that's what we assigned this variable to equal to. So if I run this, as you can see, it has printed hello 10, goodbye 10. So I suggest that you play around with this and that you test creating variables and see if you got what you expected in the output. So let's just remove all of this for now, and then let's just do another example. So let's do local x is equal to 10, and then we're going to do local, and then we're going to do local part like that, and then we're going to want to add a part into the workspace. So just do part. As you can see, there is a part here that I've just added. We're just going to leave that here, and we're just going to name this part Bob. So this part is called Bob. So we want to reference this part in the script, and we want to get this part. So we're just going to do workspace dot Bob. So what it's doing is that it's going into the workspace, and then it's looking for something called Bob, and it has found it. So now this variable is equal to this part right here. So now if I do print part, it's going to print Bob. As you can see, it has printed Bob. because that is what this part is equal to. So I can change the name of this. I can make this equal to Bob and then just copy and paste that here. It will still print Bob, but then we want to change this part's name to, let's say that we want to change this to be called Max. So now Bob's name is now Max, so we just want to do dot name and then we do bob.name equals Max. So now this part is going to be called Max, and in the properties this name will change to Max. And then when we do print bob.name, you will see that it will print Max. So if we test this over here, you will see that it has printed Max, and that over here it has changed Bob's name to Max. So variables can't be called things that Roblox has reserved names for. For example, you can't do local print equals 10 because print is already a command that Roblox has created and you cannot do that. So you can name your variables pretty much anything that you want. So let's just do local base plate. So we're going to want to get the base plate. So we're going to do local base plate equals workspace dot base plate. So now we have the base plate, and then we're going to do local bob equals workspace dot bob. Now if you want to have two parts, so for example we're going to do bob twin. So now we have two parts. We have Bob and Bob twin. So here we're getting Bob. However, if I do local Bob with a capital B and do workspace dot Bob twin, you will see that here this variable is equal to this Bob part and this variable is equal to Bob twin over here. And that's because Roblox is case sensitive, and that means that you can have variables that have the same letters but just different capitalizations. So if we do print Bob and then comma, Bob is going to print Bob and Bob twin. As you can see, it has printed Bob and Bob twin. So if we do Bob without the capital B, this just doesn't mean anything now because I've deleted that variable. It's just going to print Bob twin, and that's because this is the last thing that I have assigned this variable to. Okay, so let's do local number equals to 50, and then we're going to do local x equals 100. So now if I want to do 50 plus 100, I can just do print number plus x, because this variable is equal to 50, so this is essentially 50 plus x variable, which is equal to 100, so 50 plus 100, so it should print 150 in the output, and it has. So you're going to be using variables for things where you're going to be using it a lot in your code. So for example, if you're going to be using this number a lot for anything really, you can just have this equal to x, and then you can just put x all over your code where you want it to be equal to 100. And when you're referencing parts, so let's get Bob like that. So this is Bob. So for example, if you're going to be wanting to change a bunch of properties of Bob, then you're going to want to reference Bob, because then you can make bob.name equals, let's just do hello, and then after, if you want to move Bob, so bob.parent equals workspace.baseplate. So we're going to be moving Bob inside of the base plate. So let's just do this. So Bob's name is going to be changing to hello. Then we're going to be changing Bob to be the child of base plate. So if I run this, you will see that Bob is no longer here because he is hiding in the base plate, which is over here, and his name has been changed to hello. So variables are really good because if you're going to be using something a lot, instead of systematically going workspace.bob, you can just do Bob. And that's really good because if you're going to be having folders and then you're going to be having parts and then maybe you're going to be having models, and then it's just going to be harder and harder to find Bob. So Bob is no longer here. Bob is in the folder and then he's right here. So let's just swap Bob in the model and Bob twin in the folder. So let's just do Bob. Okay, so let's just do model.bob. So now if we want to change Bob's name, we can just do bob.name equals hello. And instead, because we've assigned Bob to this variable, we can just do Bob. But if we hadn't, we'd have to do workspace.folder.model.bob. And we'd always have to do that when we want to get Bob. And as you can see, this is already a lot longer than this line of code, and you're going to want to keep things nice and neat and concise when you're writing a lot of code. So that's what that's for. So we can still change his name to hello and then we'll do goodbye. So we're going to add a wait. We're going to wait 5 seconds. And then so it's going to change Bob's name to hello and then it's going to wait 5 seconds and then it's going to change Bob's name to goodbye. So let's run this. Let's quickly open up the workspace. As you can see, here is Bob. His name has been changed to hello. And then, oh, you see here, because Bob's name has been changed to hello, when this is looking for Bob, because Bob's name is no longer Bob. His name is hello now. So now it's looking for Bob, but because this has been changed to hello, Bob no longer exists. So we have to do hello. So as you can see, that is really tricky because you've just changed Bob's name. So every time that you change his name, it's going to end up being super tricky for you to keep track of what his new name is. So if you just reference him, you don't have to remember his name. You can just do bob.name and it won't have an issue finding Bob. So as you can see, because Bob has already been set to the variable, it should work fine. So you can see it has done goodbye. So I was a little bit too slow, so let's just make this longer. Let's just make this 10 seconds. Okay, so 10. So you can see the name is hello and then it's going to change. There we go. It has changed to goodbye after the script has waited 10 seconds. So that's what variables are. So I hope that you understand what variables are now and that you are able to use variables. If you keep practicing, it's just going to get easier and easier. But that's just the same with everything with scripting. The more you practice, the better you'll be at it and the easier it will come to you. That was that for this tutorial. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and you can turn on the bell notification if you want to be notified whenever I upload a new tutorial video. Thanks for watching and bye!